then I think you people are really the experts here. Throughout this, they talk about building traffic calming devices, slowing down traffic with big abutments. I know you all haven't had a chance to read it. They said the same thing at Shandaken. I watched on TV. They didn't have a chance either. But traffic calming devices, interestingly, are described in Washington, D.C. as a way to discourage traffic from one area to the other, to get people out of their automobiles, and to confine people to an area because it discourages. Imagine if a traffic calming device is otherwise known as, like, it's a hideous inconvenience. If you want to get from here to Bel Air, you don't want to go through 6 traffic calming devices. People are tearing out their hair, going over the reservoir. They're tearing their hair out. We're so thrilled that it's finally being paid. No one's going to say, oh, I really can't wait to go up to, through Hurley and into Shandaken. I'm so excited because now they're spending a lot of money and they have an unelected collaborative there, and these people are building sidewalks everywhere, and gee, I'm glad all the signs are brown, and I'm really excited about going through traffic calming devices. They're going to take me an extra 40 minutes to get skiing and an extra 40 minutes to get back.
They won't come through here. They won't come through here if they have that.
They won't come through here. Everyone around here knows 50 ways of getting someplace 30 seconds faster. To talk about signs, the fact that this gentleman spent 10 minutes talking about signs when this document is so rife with bureaucracy and impediments to business, impediments to free will. You're talking, oh, but we worked on it 3 years. Well, we've been working on liberty and democracy for 300 years. That trumps 130 pages of tying people up in knots, especially businessmen, and it very clearly gives these people the power, the way it's worded, to infringe on business. Mr. Kanye's had his hand raised for a long time.
I had plenty of time to read this. When you see all the stuff that's in here, Bruce, it's all about loss of local control. And I got page numbers, and I'm not going to go through all. I got one little page of notes here. I had 6. All right. It starts off on page 16. You got to look for all the buzzwords too, like protect and interpret are buzzwords for control and regulate. It starts on page 16 where it says, noted Pace University land use attorney John Nolan advised this group. Google John Nolan and see what he's noted for. Pages 35 and 36. All those nice regulations that we didn't like in the town comprehensive plan are back in this plan. And why not? Because they're all just about written by the same people. The collaborative, which sounds like the bad guys on Star Trek. The stuff that we all took out, remember all of you were up there? You had the plans, waving them around. You had tabs sticking out of them. They were marked with highlighters and red pens. It's all back in this plan. Page 80.
Things were taken out of that plan.
Yeah, but they put them back in here. They're back here. Page 88. They want to impose.
Busy weekend and a lot of parties.
That's right. That's right. Page 88. They talk about corridor-wide design guidelines. We don't need a group of unelected people telling us what our design guidelines should be. Pages 89 and 90. They want to employ land use tools to protect. Remember what that word really means: the scenery and the viewshed. Now, one of the things I get a kick out of, like Mr. Nolan, and this is all about a cute logo and tourism. What about the 13 members of the collaborative? I mean, how many of these people are actually involved in the tourism industry? What are they really been involved? What is really their life's work been? It hasn't been tourism.
Okay. Well,
all right, I'm not done. I didn't interrupt you. I have the floor. Sit down. All right. Page 101, 102, 109. The collaborative desires to strengthen and formalize themselves to become a management entity. Wow, yes, and they transition the collaborative to a management entity. Pages 112. And then you start the resolutions, page 117. It's all in there. There's some of the pages just to look at. There's a lot more. This is all about loss of local control. The people in the Adirondacks are sorry that they got sold a similar bill of goods like this years ago. I'm done.
Are there any copies here? Are there any copies of the plan here
Yeah, I got one.
for the public? Or for the media? You have one for the media, I'm asking.
It's one, I can get you one.
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right, I'm Robert Selkowitz. I'm an artist. I've lived on Route 28 in Ashokan for 15 and a half years. I lived on Route 28 in the Andes for 5 years. I make my living doing paintings of the landscape. It's not really tourism, but it appeals to visitors and residents. Other members of the collaborative are, well, Helen Chase, who was on your town board for many years. The folks in Fleischman's and Margaretville and Shandaken are community people. I don't know how to characterize tourism as a profession. What's our Carolyn O'Byrne. Carolyn O'Byrne has started the Central Catskills Chamber of Commerce in Margaretville, and she's been reaching across this collaborative corridor. You know, it's like we're in such a difficult position here. We've got a 700,000 acre park that we live in, all right? The town of Olive is within the Catskill Park. And the fear that we have, I have to say, no one on this collaborative went out to try to control anybody, okay? 30 meetings, we've had meetings here, we've advertised, anybody could come and say anything. What Peter has done in putting this proposal together, had to do it in a format to present to the state organization, the Scenic Byways organization. I think it's, I wouldn't say criminal, but it's a disgrace that we have to prove that Route 28 has scenic qualities and should be a scenic byway. There are programs that are administered through the federal government that we could apply for to build, toward help towards building that Catskill Region Interpretive Center there. If you look, have you looked at the kiosk there? Have you seen the kiosk?
Yeah.
There are 16 panels.
Excuse me for interrupting.
Well, no, well, go
I was
ahead.
I was up there for 2 hours Saturday morning. I figured it's December, maybe there's not many tourists, but the time I was up there was about 17 dog walkers, maybe 20 people running around, some kind of meeting that I didn't understand between people, but nobody took a look at the kiosk. I mean, all those cars that passed by in 20, nobody stopped at it.
Well, there's
It's
one
always
sign.
empty.
There's one sign that says Catskill Park information, and the
The little one I'm
DEC.
talking about.
Yeah, and the DEC was supposed to put a sign like 500 feet ahead, you know, up ahead Catskill Park information. All right. Now the DEC is supposed to be the organization that has control within the Catskill Park. We don't have an Adirondack Park Association. You know, we don't have that central organization in the Adirondacks, and there's always been a lot of, you know, Delaware County doesn't want to cooperate with Ulster County, and the towns all have their own things, but we are within this park with the DEC, so we're trying to get them to be more responsible for presenting the assets that we have. As Peter said, there's one sign for a trail. You know, this is a state park, and it's an asset for us to live in the state park. All right, it's very special. Let me just go another couple of minutes, okay?
Sorry.
So, you know, there are scenic byways throughout the state. There is one for the mountaintop that's up 23A through Tannersville and Hunter. That is a proposal that Peter filed with the, you know, the bureaucrats in Albany. We're still waiting to hear on that. There's one in the Shongun region, the Minnewaska, Mohonk area down Sam's Point. That's another scenic byway. It's just a way to give an entity some character. You know, it's like there's something that we can do here to bring recognition to this area. What you're so afraid of is so traffic calming. That was put in by Cynthia Nikitin, who's a professional planner, works all over the world. She has the property with the totem poles in Boyceville, and she's very concerned about the traffic accidents. We just had another fatality down, you know, a mile and a half from here. I was listening to the ambulances for 10:30 once the power went out. That poor fellow just drove right into a pole. I've been first on the scene for 2 very bad accidents, one a fatality on Route 28. So